The wildfires in Fort McMurray devastated that city last year and forced the largest wildfire evacuation in Alberta's history. That fire destroyed over 2,400 homes and buildings, spread over 590,000 hectares, and it still smolders even after all of this time. Another demographic that was devastated by the fires were business owners, with over 4,000 shuttered by the natural disaster. So you would think the NDP would get to work helping to get businesses and services in order for when evacuees were coming back into town. But I have the emails between Minister Darren Billis and Minister Danielle Larravee's staff showing that they were more concerned with their image during the crisis. The emails detail a by invite only roundtable that they used as a PR photo op rather than putting businesses' necessities at the forefront. The whole thing was staged for the purposes of making the government look good. So let me break this down for you. I mentioned invites. Of course, the NDP would only have their favorite businesses come to the round table. Of the 4,000 businesses, they invited 12 to discuss issues. Now keep in mind that 1,600 of the affected businesses are self-employed people, many running their operations from home. Do you think the NDP invited any of them? No way. But they did have to invite their favorite props, First Nations groups. Here's a staff member that refers to Indigenous groups as a crosscut from small business owners, a crosscut. So it seems the NDP really only care about Indigenous groups when they're good for a photo op. And then there was the panic over pictures, where securing a photographer was mentioned over 20 times before the meeting took place. Really, there was barely any mention of the actual plan to address business concerns, but there was questioning of whether opening remarks would be scripted and whether it would come off as awkward at the round table. Seems pretty concerning that a minister would have to script remarks in this situation. Aren't these people supposed to be experts and know the ins and outs of their files? Could this be why there was no media availability after the roundtable, or was that just because it was a photo opportunity that made it look like actual work was being done? And of course, during a telephone conference, only the best comments were put forth, because why air anything that's critical of the government? This entire roundtable was orchestrated to make the NDP look good rather than pointing out the problems businesses were facing at the time. Perhaps the most stunning comment came from Billis himself, though. He questioned what businesses out of the 4,000 actually deserved getting grants if they were struggling before the fires. Does that sound like someone that's concerned about a natural disaster and the state of emergency that followed? No way. It sounds more like someone that wants to pick winners and losers during a disaster. We showed you how the NDP made cuts to the wildfire budget. We showed you how they canceled water bomber contracts. And we showed you how the local oil industry was frustrated with how the government was mishandling the situation on the ground. The NDP put more effort into putting out political fires and attempting to save face than they did in actually doing anything beneficial for Fort McMurray businesses during a crisis. Their main priority was, well, the NDP. But really, what else is new when it comes to these ideologues that aren't based in reality? For the Rebel.media, I'm Holly Nicholas. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button for our YouTube channel so that you don't miss any of our latest.